This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so far we are able to complete all the baseline configuration with the consistency check as passed for your baseline config. Now it is mandatory for us to understand what is master data and how we are going to create this master data in SAP system for the first time. In general, at the beginning, we need to create three master records. One is your GL account, second one is your profit center, third one is cost center. Before we create this GL, profit center, cost center, first let us update certain information. I'll take down. Let's first create GL accounts. Now, general ledger accounts. Now, when you define a general ledger account or GL account, make sure you are creating minimum 100 GL accounts in the beginning. Okay, you are creating minimum 100 GL accounts at the beginning. This should be your target. Do not create only 5-10 GL accounts and then start your entry posting. That is not the right approach. Make sure you have minimum 100 GL accounts, and these 100 GL accounts are created using upload template, either using LSMW or using LTMC, but not using FS00 directly for the first time in any of your company code that you are going to practice. Now you have to understand what are these 100 GLs that I need to create. Right, it is very important as a FICO consultant. We are aware of most of the GL accounts when you are working in a real environment. Otherwise, what will happen? We will end up knowing only few certain GL accounts. If you're talking about expenses, we may talk about 10, 15, 20 GL accounts, and then we may go blank that we are not aware the additional account names. Similarly, for your incomes, assets, liabilities, you must have at least 25 accounts in your mind for each category. Minimum 25 asset accounts, minimum 25 liabilities, minimum 25 incomes, minimum 25 expenses. Overall, 100 GL accounts we must create in first go for your any of your company code. Now, remember, in your initial company code, you are not creating GL accounts using FS00. Because when you're in any project, you're not going to create GL master using FS00. Similar way, when you're practicing, do not create using FS00. First, understand, learn how to upload the GL accounts using LSMW and LTMC. Once you're clear, comfortable with this, later on, you can create GL accounts using FS00. Okay. Now, when you're creating this GL accounts, you will have to classify GL accounts into different categories. First, I'll say balance sheet accounts. If somebody is not talking, please be on mute. Second one is P&L accounts. When we talk about balance sheet account, there are two type of accounts in balance sheet. One is your assets. Second one is liabilities. Under P&L accounts, again, there are two categories. One is your incomes. Second one is expenses. These are your balance sheet accounts. These are your P&L accounts. And you must ensure that from each category you are able to create 25 GL accounts or at least 20 accounts minimum, but overall you have to list out 100 GL accounts. Now, how these 100 GL accounts are created in your real environment is what we are going to understand now. What I will do here, Before you create any GL account group is something which is mandatory. Now, when we created chart of account, we have created different account groups inside the chart of account. If I go to chart of account table, okay, these are our chart of account tables. Now you need to create GL accounts from this grouping only. Strictly from this group, you'll have to create GL accounts. Let's say fixed assets, you have accumulated depreciation, you have cash, bank, inventory, accounts receivable, customer advances, prepaid expenses, input taxes, low investments, loans and advances, intercompany receivable, current asset. We have 13 account groups. From this 13 account groups, let us create around 25 GL accounts. First one is fixed asset. So what I am going to do, I am going to copy this account group name alone. Okay, later on we are going to remove this account group, but initially let's put this account group. I'll write this as account group. This is a temporary group that we are writing here. Next one is your GL account name, GL number, account type, which represents P&L or balance sheet. Next one is your reconciliation account type, and open item management, field status group. These are all not relevant now, that we can understand later on. So GL account name, GL account number, account type, reconciliation account type is enough at the beginning. The additional settings like your account currency, open item management, sort key, field status group, post automatically only. These are all simple settings that we can directly understand once we have the GL account list. First, what we will try to do, we'll try to write the account name, and we will put the appropriate account group against each of our account name. If I take fixed assets, what account names can I have under fixed assets? Let's say I'll put plant and machinery. I'll put buildings. I'll put computers. I'll put furniture. And fittings. I'll put softwares and licenses. Okay, there are around 5. Now these 5 categories are part of, let's say I'll put this account group somewhere here. All these 5 are related to your fixed assets. Next one, I'll put accumulated depreciation. I'm not writing the complete list, but when you're practicing, you can add as many as possible according to your understanding. I'll put accumulated depreciation, plant and machinery. Next one, accumulated depreciation, buildings. Next one, accumulated depreciation, furniture and fittings. Next one, accumulated depreciation, softwares and licenses. One, two, three, four. Next one, accumulated depreciation on computers. Now all this belonging to accumulated depreciation GL account grouping. Next one is your cash. So put account group as cash. I'll say petty cash. I'll say Hyderabad. I'll say petty cash Bangalore. I'll say petty cash Mumbai. I'll say petty cash Chennai. In short, at which location you are operating, you are dealing with petty cash. Next one, bank accounts. I'll put HDFC main bank. I'll put HDFC check incoming. I'll say HDFC check outgoing. Again, I'll put HDFC transfer incoming, HDFC transfer outgoing. Similarly, I'll create one more set of banks. Let's say 2 bank accounts. Now I'll just replace HDFC with SBI. Okay, 2 bank accounts I've created. In each bank, whenever you create the GL account, make sure you're creating accounts like this. Okay, I think some spacing is missing. SBI check okay, SBI transfer outgoing. Next one, inventory. Inventory, I'll say inventory raw material. I'll again say inventory semi-finished. I'll put inventory finished. I'll put inventory packing material. Next one, accounts receivable and then customer advances. Accounts receivable, I'll put accounts receivable trade, accounts receivable, let's say exports, accounts receivable credit, accounts receivable intercompany, accounts receivable one time. Next one, I'll put customer advances. I'll say customer advances trade, customer advances exports, customer advances, intercompany, next customer advances, one time. 4, something is missing, credit, customer advances, credit. Okay, these are your next GL accounts. Next, prepaid expenses, input taxes, investments, loans and advances, intercompany receivable, current assets. Now, how many assets we have written here so far? We have written around 38 account, right? If you keep writing like this, is it easy to cross 100 GL accounts? Yes, no? If you keep writing like this, easily you will reach around 200 GL accounts. And that is how you are supposed to create the GL accounts. For the first time in your company code, do not create only few selected GL accounts. That is wrong approach. Now, prepaid expenses, input taxes, let's say insurance, premium, next one, internet, subscription, input taxes, I'll say input tax account. After this, investment, loans and advances, intercompany receivable, current assets. I'll say investments in fixed deposits, loans and advances. Let me take advances to intercompanies, intercompany receivable. No, here we'll not put this. Intercompany receivables, current asset. Anyone current asset name? Anyone?
Stocks, physical
Stock is
cash,
already written. Cash is already written.
cash in hand, cash in bank,
Those are all already written. Apart from cash, bank, we need one. This one. It's okay. I'll ignore these two. So assets we have written. Now clear how I have written these assets. I have taken the account groups that we have created. Looking at the account group, I am able to write at least few accounts considering my account group description. If I see fixed assets, I am able to write plant machinery, building, computers, accumulated depreciation on everything, cash, bank accounts, inventory, accounts receivable, customer advances, and so on. In the similar way, when you are trying to create the GL master, take one Excel sheet, put your account group at the beginning, GL account name you put. After that, what you are going to do, you are going to update account type. Assets are all what kind of accounts? Balance sheet or P&L? These are all balance sheet. Account type, you put BS here, and in column D you put everything as balance sheet account. Recon account type, which means whether you are creating a main ledger account or a subledger account. You have three subledgers: fixed asset, customer, vendor is a subledger. Anything which is other than fixed asset, customer, vendor is a main ledger. For customer, vendor, fixed asset, you have to put reconciliation account type, otherwise it will be blank. Plant and machinery, building, computers, whatever is coming from your fixed asset is a reconciliation account. Whatever is coming here is a reconciliation account. If it is a fixed asset reconciliation account, you will have to put recon account type as A. A represent assets. This reconciliation account A is used for all your fixed asset, for all your accumulated depreciation related accounts. Your cash accounts are non-reconciliation account, which means cash is a main ledger account. Your reconciliation account will be blank. Bank is also same. Inventory is also same. Next reconciliation category is your accounts receivable. Accounts receivable. Someone be on mute. I think somebody is not on mute. Accounts receivable is your customer account. Any customer is identified by reconciliation account type D. Copy D for all your customers and customer advances. And after that, prepaid expenses, input tax, investment, intercompany receivable. These are all direct main ledger accounts. No need of reconciliation account. First thing, this is what we'll have to understand. I think I've put this here. Now clear so far? Any doubt in this account numbers that I've written here? Any question based on the account group, writing the account names, GL account names, updating this as balance sheet account or reconciliation account? Any question in this? All right.
Sir, can you write field group?
Field group is not mandatory because that can be changed at any given point of time. Okay, whatever the information we have written, these four fields are very, very important. The remaining information is not so important because that you can create according to your requirement, but this information is must. Now let's say fixed as, go ahead.
Sir, in the real time, there may be 1000 GL accounts, is it right, sir?
Correct. In the similar way, your client is going to map the GL accounts and he is going to send the file. In the same fashion, you will receive the file from your client for your chart of account mapping.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, your client is not going to put the GL account numbers. They are only going to put your account group. This GL account to be created under which category? Because your client will have all your account groups like this. Where is it? All the account groups of this will be shared with your client and he will have a list of it. According to this, your client is going to prepare a file like this, considering their existing chart of account and considering the account groups in your SAP chart of account. They are going to maintain a table like this and they will share that table with you containing the GL account description, account type representing balance sheet or P&L, and reconciliation account type, whether it is a recon account or a non-reconciliation account. Once you are looking at this file, you have to look at the account group. This is fixed asset. For fixed asset, if I look at the table, for fixed asset, account number range is this. What I am going to do before I decide the account number, first I will take the first number from the range. 101 all zeros. I'll take the first number. I'll come to fixed asset. I'll paste the first number here. From here, I am going to drag until I come to the fixed asset. I'll tick this, I'll click on fill series. This is how you are going to put the account numbers. No fancy number concept here. You are strictly supposed to create the GL account number in sequential order. Okay, this is your one of the mandatory rules to be followed in your master data segment. You must follow the serial GL account number. We should not skip the account numbers. If you are practicing time, if you are skipping, it is fine. But when you are in the real environment, when you are creating a GL account, do not create non-sequential account numbers. It must be in sequence. Currently, fixed assets, we have created 101 all zeros until 101 all zeros 4. Next asset, if you are creating or somebody else is creating, they must create 101 all zeros 5. They cannot take any other random number. That is not correct. Okay, fixed asset numbers we have taken. Next one, accumulated depreciation. For accumulated depreciation, this is your account number range. Take 102 all zeros. Come here, put the first number here. And until when you have accumulated depreciation, till here, just drag this. And you will get a icon like this, autofill options. Enable this. Click on fill series so that the numberings will get auto updated. These are your GL account numbers. Next one, cash accounts. Same thing, go to here, select cash account number ranges. Copy the cash accounts. Come here, put this here. What we need to do, we just need to drag until your cash accounts. From the autofill options, click on fill series. You get the GL numbers auto updated. Next one, bank GL accounts. For bank GL accounts, it is not the sequence. For bank GL accounts, there is a different logic. For every bank account, you have to block 10 digits starting from 0 to 9. Okay, for every bank account, you have to fill 10 digits starting 0 to 9. Now, from your bank account, what is the series? 1 to all zeros. Copy this number. Come to bank. Your main bank account should always represent 0. From here until all your outgoing accounts. Just drag. Fill series. Okay, incoming account is ending with 1, outgoing account is ending with 2, transfer incoming 3, transfer outgoing 4. Same logic must be applied. Make sure you have the same sequence. Check incoming, check outgoing, transfer incoming, transfer outgoing. Check in, check out, transfer in, transfer out. Next, what I am going to do here is, I'll put the main account for the next bank. My account should end with 0. Now I'll have to change the last one digit. Here I'll put 10. If you see here, this GL account is ending with 10. This GL account is also ending with 10, but the last two digits are different. You'll have to bring the differentiation at the last but one digit. From last, second digit should differentiate. It is a new bank GL account. From here, you need to drag again until outgoing. Fill series. If you see this now, any incoming account for check is ending with 1. Check incoming account is ending with 1. Any check outgoing account is ending with 2. Check outgoing account here also ending with 2. Any transfer incoming account ending with 3. Any transfer outgoing account ending with 4. Whatever the logic you decide at the beginning for your bank accounts, the same logic must be followed for all your bank accounts across all your company codes. Okay, I'll remove these colors. Next one, inventory. I'll go to table, Inventory is 13 all
Sir,
zeros. Yes.
sir, but here we have missed the series, right? We have missed the number because it is under bank. So it should be at 5 means 1, 2, whole 0 and 5. We have missed some numbers. As you said, we should continue the series.
Here, for every
Yeah.
bank, we have to block 10 GL numbers starting from 0, ending with 9. If you see this 1 to all zeros, ending with 0 and until ending with 9 is the same bank account. Tomorrow, there may be another requirement within HDFC. Let's say you may need another GL account called excess debit or excess credit. You may have another GL account called DD incoming, DD outgoing, or letter of credit incoming, letter of credit outgoing. You may get any additional requirement to use within the same bank. To meet these kind of requirements, strictly for every bank account, 10 GL numbers will be blocked. In short, whatever the bank account you are taking, you must write the bank GLs with main account and sub account concept. Your bank main GL account and the bank sub accounts like your incoming and outgoing accounts. For main and incoming, for every unique bank, you are going to lock 10 GL numbers starting from 0, ending with 9. If there are no other GL accounts or if there are no additional account requirement, still you are not going to use those GL numbers.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
This is specific for bank accounts only, or uh,
This is exclusively for the bank accounts.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is exclusively for the bank accounts in order to make sure your bank reconciliation statement or BRS is working fine. If our intention is to perform BRS, whether you perform it in SAP or out of SAP, usage of this main account, sub account concept is must. Okay. Next one, in the inventory, I'll put inventory numbers. Same thing for inventory also. Whatever the inventories I have, I'll copy this. I'll fill the series. Next one, accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is this. Copy. Accounts receivable. Paste this also until down. Fill series. Now, when you're writing this accounts receivable, you have to ensure a logic. If your accounts receivable trade is ending with 0, export is ending with 1, the others should also ending with the same. Trade, export, credit, intercompany one time. Trade, export, intercompany, but here there is a sequence missed. Trade, export, credit, intercompany one time. Trade, export, intercompany, credit one time. Something is wrong. Trade, export, credit, trade, export, credit should come here. Credit is here. After that, intercompany and one time. Are these in same sequence now? Same order? Right. These are in same order now. Next one, for the customer advances, you have a different number series 142. Copy this 142, put this here and drag these GL account numbers. Fill series. Now the logic that we have to follow here is, if your accounts receivable trade is 141 all zeros, your customer advances for trade is also 142 all zeros. If your exports is 141 all zeros 1 ending, your export this also ending with 1, so that when you're mapping the down payments or advances in the SAP, it is easy for anybody to understand. So these kind of a small logical things we have to keep in our mind right from the beginning, so that tomorrow when you work in any organization, this is how the similar logics you will be finding. Next one, prepaid expenses. For prepaid expenses, it is 151. You have two prepaid expenses. I'll drag this to the next account, fill series. Next one, input tax. There is only one GL account. I'll take input tax. Next one, investment 160. And next one, intercompany receivable. Intercompany receivable is 181. Two accounts groups we have not created. Now the total, we have created 43 GL accounts under assets. Any doubt in this asset GL account mapping? GL name based on the account group, balance sheet account, reconciliation account type, and then GL account number mapping. Any doubt, anyone, on this table that we have filled up now?
Sir, can we create other current assets under the current assets?
You can create.
Okay, sir.
You can create. Any doubt in this table, anyone, how we have filled up this? Clear with the logic how we filled up this table? In the similar way, we need to fill up for liabilities, incomes, and then expenses. Okay, two sets. Once we fill up everything, two records we are going to use LSMW. For two records we are going to use LTMC, so that we will see LSMW two times, so that you will understand how LSMW works, and then you will see LTMC two times, and then you will understand how LTMC is practically working. But before we upload it, because uploading the data in SAP is very simple, but preparing your data in a proper manner is a little tricky part. Unless you get the logic, unless you are clear with the concept, we will not be able to fill up the data in the actual format in which you are going to receive it from your client. If you have any questions on this table, you can ask.
Sir, line item and open we will click. You will say
Line
that.
item, open item, I did not put this currently, that we will add later on. While creating the GL account template, that time we will put that.
Okay.
Sir, what
Okay,
is the sir,
yeah, go ahead.
sir, what is the difference between reconciliation account and non-reconciliation account?
Yes, you have main ledger and sub ledger concept. Anything related to customer, vendor, and fixed asset is a reconciliation account. Apart from customer, vendor, and fixed asset, everything is a non-reconciliation account. Because you want to create separate customer accounts, you want to create separate vendor accounts, you want to create separate fixed asset accounts. Correct? For us to achieve that, we must create these three accounts as sub ledger, as reconciliation account.
Sir, here for example, you're mentioning the fixed assets, the recon type as an A. So we have the accounts group as well. It is fixed asset. So do we need to create the reconciliation account based on the fixed assets number ranges, or is there any specific terms are there to create a reconciliation account?
This is based on your fixed asset number ranges only. Account group, when you're creating, you will be mentioning as fixed asset.
Okay, so in this case, sir, here you are mentioning the license and software is one ending with 4. So now I wanted to create a plant and machinery. So wanted to assign one reconciliation account over there. So the series will be continue to the reconciliation account, right? No, sir.
Correct. If you are adding next account number in the fixed asset, you'll have to follow the series. Next reconciliation, if you add anything in fixed asset, will end with 5.
Sir, another question. See, in our real-time project, the client come up with one requirement that they wanted to change the reconciliation account. So, can we able to change it after we post some entries to existing reconciliation account at
If
any
you want
point
to
of time?
change the existing reconciliation account, normally that is not recommended. If you do not have a reconciliation account, you want to convert this as a reconciliation account, or you are currently using as a reconciliation account, you want to change this as a non-reconciliation account, the best approach is to create a new GL account, do a transfer posting from the current GL account to the new GL account, because we will have historical transaction in the account.
Yes, sir. So we are just transferring the balance, like open balance to the new GL account.
Correct.
That's it, no, sir.
Right.
Okay.
In whatever the way they want, we can transfer it. But we have to create a new GL account. We are not supposed to change the existing GL account settings. That will lead to unnecessary inconsistencies and unnecessary confusions. Tomorrow, when you pull a report, your reports will show inconsistent records. You'll have to create a new GL account and do a transfer posting from this account to that account. Once that is done, your GL account will become 0. Like this account balance will become 0. At that stage, block this account for posting so that nobody can pass any further entries in this GL account. You can also change the description of this GL account as do not use.
Sir, it
Clear,
means
sir.
we are uploading these GL accounts only at chart of accounts level first. Am I right, sir?
Correct.
Okay.
So, so one more
Yeah.
question here. So, for all the balance sheet account, we have to do the reconciliation in real time. I'm telling the operational perspective. So, why we are marking only the main ledger as the reconciliation type as A and the subledger is like a blank. So, but yeah, at the end of the time, all the account we have to do the reconciliation, right?
No, that reconciliation which you're talking about is different. This reconciliation type is different. This is representing whether your account is main ledger or sub ledger.
Okay. If it is recon type is
Okay.
A, it's a main ledger. If it is blank, that means it's a subledger.
No. If recon account type is there, it is a sub ledger. If recon account type is blank, it's a main ledger. In short,
Okay.
let's say you're talking about uh, computers. If you're talking about computers, let's say if you're having around 200 computers in your office, for every computer there is a separate asset master record. If you turn back your official laptop, office laptop, you will find something called one asset tag number.
Yes.
Right, this is the respective asset master record in the accounting in the sense, in any application that you use, you'll have to evaluate your each fixed asset separately. To do that, you need to have a dedicated master record for it, representing when this asset was purchased, from whom we have purchased this, at what rate we purchased, what is the life of this asset, what is the current value of this asset. In order to achieve this, we need to create this asset accounting as a subledger so that you can create individual master records for every asset.
Okay, sir. Yeah,
All
understood.
your laptops, 200 laptops of yours, will be updated in your balance sheet under this account. But tomorrow, if you get any doubt, why my asset value is, let's say, some 25 lakhs. I want to see what assets we have, which is costing me 25 lakhs. You will go to the subledger accounting. In subledger, when you give this GL account and run the report, you can straight away find out the number of assets, in short, number of laptops that you have, based on the model, from where this was purchased, on what date this was purchased, this laptop is currently used by which employee, which department is responsible for this laptop. All this information can be maintained at sub-ledger level. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, for
Clear.
your customer,
Clear.
for each customer, you need to maintain a separate record. What is the customer name? What is the customer address? When the customer purchased? What item he purchased? When he paid? This payment is against which invoice? If your customer is making any advance, why he is paying advance? This advance is against which invoice? All this kind of information breakdown, detailed analysis is maintained at accounts receivable submodule level or at accounts receivable subledger level. Okay. So somewhere we would have put D here. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Now clear.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Because you must be clear with this logic. Only then it is ideal for you to create the GL accounts in the system. These are all one-time efforts. These are all one-time logics that you are going to understand. Afterwards, wherever you go, it is the same logic used. Maybe a slight differences, but the core concept is the same one. If you are able to understand this, you will be able to work in any project. Next one, let's put liabilities. For liabilities, again, I am going to create the GL accounts. Account group, let me copy paste again for the liabilities. Capital, let's say I'll put equity share capital. But when you're in a project, all this accounting, all this mapping will be prepared by your client. You're only going to validate whether the data has been filled up correctly or not. And you're going to set up the number ranges for each GL account. I'll put equity share capital. I'll say preference share capital. Okay, next one, retained earnings account. I'll say retained earnings current year. Next one, retained earnings manual. So retained earnings, normally we will have two retained earnings account. One retained earning account representing the automatic calculation by the system. Second retained earnings account, in case if you wanted to adjust your profit, in case if you want to pass any adjustments in the retained earnings, you will be creating additional GL account called retained earnings manual, wherein you can pass the adjustment entry manually. This is also retained earnings. Next one, reserves. I'll put general reserve. Any other reserves we have?
Reserves and surplus.
No.
Securities premium.
I'll say contingent reserves. Let's say secured loans. What are the secured loans?
Bank loan, car loan.
Bank loans. When I say bank loan, we'll have to be very specific. Let's say access bank loans, because you may be taking loans from different banks. You'll have to specifically mention the account. I'll say HDFC bank loan. Unsecured loans. What are the unsecured loans?
Loan taken from outsiders, I think.
Correct. Let's say loans from third parties. And accounts payable.
Accounts payable, local vendors, foreign vendors,
I'll say
employee
accounts
vendors.
payable, local vendor, accounts payable, imports, accounts payable, trade vendors, accounts payable, employee vendors, accounts payable, intercompany, accounts payable, one time from one time vendors. Next, the same thing we'll put as advances. So I'll change accounts payable to vendor advances. Now this grouping will have to change. This is all accounts payable and this is all your vendor advances. Next, provisions. What kind of provisions you have?
Rent.
Provision for doubtful debts.
Provision for doubtful debts. Next, provision for salaries. Two enough.
Office expenses.
Next, taxes payable. I'll say let's only put tax payables. Only one tax payable is enough. Outstanding expenses. I'll write outstanding wages and outstanding electricity bills.
Outstanding rent, outstanding salaries.
Yep, two enough. Bank overdraft, let's say Citibank overdraft, maybe SBI Bank overdraft. Income received in advance. What is this? What is this income received in advance?
Advance received from
Customer advances.
Received from
Interest,
customer. Right?
yeah, interest received in advance. Any other?
Down payments.
No, down payment is not income. Okay, one is enough. So how many we have written in liabilities? We have written 29 in liabilities. So overall, assets and liabilities together we have written 72. So by the time we complete income and expense, we will almost reach around 140 or 150. Now these are your liabilities. For the liabilities, again numbering sequence. First one is your equity share capital, or in short, capital. For capital, this is the numbering sequence, 2 1 all zeros. Copy this numbering sequence, put this here. You have two capitals, drag it, fill the series. Next one, retained earnings. For retained earnings, this is your account group. Copy this, come here, put the retained earnings account here. You have two retained earnings accounts. Drag the number, click on fill series. Next one, reserves. In reserves, 222 all zeros. Copy this and put this here. Here also two numbers. Copy, fill series. Next one, secured loans and unsecured loans. For secured loans, unsecured loans, this is the number. I'll put here. This I'll drag, fill series. Similarly for there is only one unsecured loan, fine. Next one, accounts payable. For accounts payable, this is the number 241 all zeros. Come here, accounts payable, and drag it and fill this series. Next one, accounts receivable, accounts payable advances, 242. This one let us put here. Logic that you have to create for accounts payable advances is ensure that you have the same sequence for the similar category of your vendor. Let's say local vendor is 241 all zeros, local vendor advance is 242 all zeros. Similarly, employee 241 all zeros 3, employee advances 242 all zeros 3. These numbers will have to be identical so that in your reporting or for any purpose this will be more meaningful. Next one, provisions. Provisions is 251. Copy this 251. And you have one more provision, just drag it, 251, taxes payable and outstanding expenses. Taxes payable and outstanding expenses. Come here, I'll put this. Outstanding, we have two. I'll drag outstanding expenses. Next one, bank overdraft. 233 is the bank overdraft series. I'll put this here, 233. You have two account numbers. Just drag it, fill series. Last one, income received in advance, 254. Now in this, everything is a balance sheet account. I am going to write everything as balance sheet. Any subledger accounts you have, any reconciliation, accounts payable is a reconciliation. Accounts payable is a reconciliation account for vendor. Vendor is represented by K in SAP. Put K for all your accounts payable. This also accounts payable. Any doubt in this activity, whatever we have done now? Any confusion, any doubt to anybody? You can ask. Any doubt? Clear with the logic how we are defining this table for your GL accounts? Alright, if it is clear, now I want everybody to list out the remaining two categories so that we will fill them up in the tomorrow morning session, and we will be continuing with LSMW in the tomorrow morning session. So I'll be creating this one GL account of P&L in LSMW, one GL account of balance sheet in LSMW. In short, we have assets and liabilities. If I create assets using LSMW, liabilities will be created using LTMC. Same logic. If we are creating incomes using LSMW, we will be creating expenses using LTMC, so that you will get to know how you will be migrating or how you will be creating GLs both using LSMW and LTMC. Clear? So one exercise for everybody is to prepare the similar table for incomes and expenses, so that tomorrow we can write down all the incomes and expenses quickly, or I'll ask somebody to share to me on WhatsApp. Once you finalize it, I'll put them in this format so that it will be easy for us to create directly in the system tomorrow. Okay, any doubts, any questions on this, you can ask. All right, if no questions, let me stop the recording.